Chase.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is the Nielsen and Chase Show.
Only on Edmonton Sports Radio.
Team 1260.
846. Team 1260 Sports legal analyst Eric Macramella. You can find his blog online at theteam1260.com. Joins us on the show. How are you, man?
I'm good, guys. I'm good. There's still the echo, just so you know. So I'm hearing myself twice.
You know what I think it is?
Because, I have a nice voice.
Maybe you need to charge more because you got a cheap cell phone.
Yeah. I think it's time you try to get a landline, Eric. How does that sound?
This is a landline. I'm calling you from work.
Yeah, but where do you work? That's the sketchy thing. I mean, are you one of those lawyers that when by work, do you mean in the back of a Lincoln?
No, I wouldn't do the back of a Lincoln. I work in an alley. I have my fax machine with me and my secretary.
Are you currently chasing an ambulance?
Do you double bill for hearing it twice?
Guys, every good lawyer wears running shoes.
Eric Macramella sends out his invoices via pigeon. That's how good
right.
your
I work
office
with Mike
is.
Tyson.
Yeah, that's right. Look, I know we're going to get to some legal issues, but I want to hear more about this mustache experience in Chicago.
Well, the first thing is it's very sad. I mean, I gave a talk yesterday to a bunch of lawyers, and I was very sad at the beginning because the time I had with my mustache is winding down. So it's going to be difficult to say goodbye, and I may well have a ceremony. But we were down in Chicago a couple weeks ago for the Bears-Lions game. And the thing is that in Chicago, November isn't very big. So all I really was a creepy guy with a mustache. And, when you go to the clubs at night, the bars or whatever, women kind of look at you like, you're kind of creepy. And they spray mace in your eyes, and it stings, and your vision's blurred, which means you know what Rex Grossman sees when he plays. But so I'm going to miss it, guys.
Yeah, that'll. I like the idea of a ceremony to get. Are you thinking music, candles lit? Is that what you're looking at?
I'm thinking a live band in my backyard, which I don't have one, so I'm going to have to buy a house and get a backyard. But this is important for the mustache because you have to honor the mustache. Do you guys have stashes?
Oh, of course we have stashes.
Are you kidding me right now?
You can you can almost see mine right now.
First of all, it's creepy enough for me. Never mind sending it around.
Yeah. Chaser could pull off full-time mustache guy.
No, he can't.
You could.
I
Phrase,
can't.
could Chaser pull off full-time mustache guy?
It's disgusting.
I think
Yes,
he could. Yeah.
Absolutely could.
I think he could.
Yeah,
I think he could.
He's
Is it
probably
wrong to keep the mustache, guys, in December and make it December?
Uh,
Can we have a December?
well, then you're just a mustache guy. There's
And
no
then a Manuary?
Yeah,
And a February?
Manuary. We should come up with something for that. Before we get to the legal things, and we do want to, I swear. We're into our final four of Mustache Madness here. I want your opinion on both of the final four matchups. Lanny McDonald versus Rolly Fingers. Who do you like in that one?
Well, the Flames beat the Habs in the Stanley Cup final in the late 80s, so I'm going to say Rolly Fingers. I just like his better anyway. I think it was bolder. It was more artistic, wasn't it? Lanny's was just hanging there.
Yeah.
Rolly really took time to care for it, so Rolly it is.
Wow.
On the other side, we've got Hulk Hogan, a number one seed out of the Sam Elliott Regional, taking on Mike Fluff Cowan, a number 5 seed from the Groucho Marx Regional. Who do you like in that one?
You know what? I'm going to have to go with the Hulkster, only because his is the handlebar situation, correct? So with that kind of thing, I mean, that's tough to pull off, especially in the hetero world.
Fluffs looks like a glacier hanging off his nose, though.
Icicles underneath, hanging over the lip. It's a good one. Anyway, hop online and vote at theteam1260.com. Okay, let's get to the NBA lockout. I know people are thinking that there's going to be some progress there. Do you buy it?
Well, I've been saying all along that I think we're going to have the NBA by Christmas. That's been my view all along. There's a bit more cause for optimism because it looks like a couple days ago, the lead negotiator, a lawyer for the NBA players, not the union because the union's been basically blown up, Jeffrey Kessler has been replaced with a guy named Jim Quinn. Jeffrey Kessler is seen as the NBA owners is seen as a divisive type of figure, very tough to make a deal with and an impediment to success. And in fact, in the NFL lockout this past summer, Jeffrey Kessler was removed, and when he was removed, the lockout was solved. So they bring this guy in, Jim Quinn, who's actually been the outside counsel for the NBPA for about 20 years, and he was brought in the last minute in 1999 to save the season. David Stern likes him. The owners respect him. So, and there's some credibility there. I think it's going to assist, but really, ultimately, I believe it's going to settle. And I've been saying this all along, only because there are fairly obvious areas of compromise. Once you balance out the revenue sharing situation, they're a couple percentage points apart, and balance it out with system issues. And by that I mean free agency rules and a luxury tax. Once you're able to strike that balance, then you have a deal. And you are going to get there eventually. And I don't see them missing an entire season because they all recognize, and I'm sure, that they are going to come to a deal eventually. So you might as well do it now and save the season. And that means getting a deal done maybe in principle by early next week, and then having the NBA ready for Christmas. It'll take about a month to get ready, guys.
Eric, can you give us an update on the Jim Sandusky Penn State file, if you want to call it that?
I like to call it the Sandusky tragedy. First, it was a scandal, but really, when you look at it from the right angle, it ends up being a tragedy. There are more victims emerging. I was just checking online, and this is sort of a side note. I'm not sure, again, these are just allegations, but we do know for a fact that Sandusky has admitted to showering naked with boys. And I do know that he has 6 adopted kids, 5 of which are boys, and they have foster children that come through the house, and they currently have 3 foster kids. So that's a side note. That, to me, is potentially a little bit disturbing. As far as updates, the prosecution is continuing to assemble its case, to assemble the victims and their testimony. And the reason this is really important, and I've asked the question, why did the prosecution take like 3 years for this investigation? Because the entire time Sandusky was just out there. And the reason is that when you have cases of child abuse, if you only press charges in connection with one victim, it's he said versus he said, basically. But if you're able to corroborate that with other victims' testimony and show that he has engaged in a pattern of abuse, then you're in a far better position. And that's why the 2 guys in the Bernie Fine Syracuse case, Mike Lang and Bobby Davis, who have alleged that they were molested over a 20-year period, if there are no other witnesses, then the case becomes tougher to make out. So that's where we are now. The prosecution is still putting together their case. And then once they feel comfortable, they'll go ahead. And I believe the hearing is in a couple of weeks. And what the hearing is the prosecution goes to court and says, look, this is basically our case. We want to go to trial. The judge will rubber stamp it, and then they will go to trial.
There won't be a triple stamp on that rubber stamp? Because you can't triple stamp a double stamp, I don't think.
I could, and charge for it.
And quickly on Syracuse, what's happening there?
Well, Bernie Fine, the assistant coach of Syracuse, and I guess he's been in that position for 35 or 36 years, so he has been accused by 2 ball boys, Bobby Davis, who's now 39, and his stepbrother, Mike Lang, who's now 45, of molesting them over the 80s and 90s. Here is the key sort of point here is that when Davis and Lang went to the police, they were told, you know what, the statute of limitations on child abuse has run out, so you're out of time, so we can't press charges. That was, in fact, incorrect. There is a 5-year limitation in New York State, and that's how it works with child abuse. You look state to state. Every state has its own rules. Well, in New York State, there is a 5-year limitation on abuse, but if you can show that it's abuse in the first degree, kind of the stuff that Sandusky was doing, then there is no statute of limitations. And for that reason, that's why the state prosecution has reopened the investigation.
Eric, it's always a pleasure, man. Thanks for the time.
Pleasure, guys.
Enjoy your final weekend with your mustache.
Goodbye to the stash.
See you later, man. That is Eric Macramella, Team 1260 sports legal analyst. He's going to have a hard time parting with his mustache.
Oh, it sounds like he's loving it right now.
You know who isn't?
Me.
Me.
Nor me.
I can't wait to get rid of this thing. I haven't trimmed